18 here on the tee of this hole that he birdied yesterday. 452 yards. It's long. It's narrow. Tiger found that narrow fairway. He needed to make a birdie to shoot 3 over on the back 9. Here's his second. Keep trying. Down. Get down. He got down quickly, so now Tiger Woods had a birdie opportunity to try to get to +4. Finishes with a birdie for the second straight day, shoots 74, but many in the field have already passed him. He's 13 strokes back. As for Darren Clarke from Northern Ireland, his second shot on the 391-yard for par. Clarke, who made quite an impression yesterday with his solid play in the wind, almost stroke for stroke with co-leader Jim Furyk. Just slightly off the putting surface, but obviously puttable and an opportunity for birdie. And Darren Clarke got to 6 under. He only made 1 par on the front 9, but had 6 birdies and 2 bogeys, out in 32 to the back 9. On the tee at number 14, the par 3, playing today at 174 yards. A yard or so away from trouble, but he finds itself in position where he can make a birdie putt. Again from just off the surface. And again, the bottom of the cup, 8 under pars. Clarke, as the Northern Irish star, moves to number 16, 542-yard 5 par, his 3rd to the green. May not know his name, but you will become more familiar with him as we move on in the year. He'll be on the European Ryder Cup team. A birdie putt for Darren Clarke. What a day for Clarke. 8 birdies and 3 bogeys, a round of 66. Darren Clarke is atop the leaderboard right now. 3 strokes clear of the field. So here's how we stand once again. Day 2 of the 126th British Open. Clarke by 3 over Parnevik. Couples 1 under through his first 3 holes. Furyk loses a stroke to par today. Greg Norman even par through his first 5. Jim mentioned Tom Watson's quick start. Birdie on the first and the second. You see the tee times, Davis Love III and some of the rest of the field. Those are New York times. We are 5 hours later here in Scotland. David Duval has made a nice move, 3 under on today's round. Jim mentioned Curtis back-to-back rounds of 71. Peter O'Malley from Australia, 2 under on today's round. Mark Calcavecchia, the defending champ, trying to stay in it. Jonathan Lomas shot 71 as well. And you see Jack Nicklaus, who you'll see during our coverage this afternoon. Nick Faldo made a triple bogey today, round of 73. Brad Faxon, a very solid round of 67 to move back into contention. Phil Mickelson, who played late, didn't get much time on TV yesterday. You see he is 3 over for the championship. And here are some of the groups that you'll be seeing a lot of during our 5 hours of coverage. Greg Norman, looking to add another British Open championship with long hitter Lee Westwood and solid American Steve Stricker. Jack Nicklaus, at the place where he first started his British Open great performances at Royal Troon. Tom Watson, 5-time champion here, along with Colin Montgomery. How will he handle the pressure today? Fred Couples, a very solid start to the championship yesterday. Payne Stewart, who did play well last week in the Loch Lomond Invitational. And Davis Love III, along with Seve Ballesteros, former British Open champion. You've heard from Jim McKay and myself. We will be joined here this afternoon at Royal Troon by several of our colleagues, including Curtis and Peter Alice, Mark Rolfing, Roger Twyble, and Steve Melnick as well. Judy Rankin, Bob Rosberg, and Ed Snead are on the golf course. If the rules of golf come into question, we will be joined by our colleague, Frank Hannigan, former executive director of the USGA, and Jimmy Roberts will handle interviews by the side of the 18th green. So that's our lineup for this afternoon. Sit back and enjoy. Let's take you out to the golf course for some action. At the 4th hole, here's Mark Rolfing.
Colin Montgomery for a birdie at the par 5. And that one goes down, so Colin Montgomery off to a good start today. albeit he was off to a good start yesterday, 2 under after 6 holes, and then it all fell apart. Let's go to 6.
Hard par 5, second shot for Greg Norman.
Tremendous drive from Norman. Probably a 7-iron into this really long par 5, longest hole in the British Rota.
Do the right thing,
Rolls up onto the green for Greg Norman. 2 under par 69 was one of the best early scores yesterday. You'll see a lot of Greg Norman this afternoon. The crowds are here, the sun is out, the wind is down slightly. It's the second round of the British Open at Royal Troon.
Think about was paying for college. Sure, I played around with a few mutual funds, but I was no expert. So I started talking to someone who could help, a broker at Dean Witter.
We must plan for our client's future as if it were our own.
Funny, kids think their parents always have the right answers. I'm just making sure I do.
We measure success, one investor at a time.
AVDP System Woods and Irons are helping all kinds of golfers set their own records. How? Avoirdupois, a unique system that gives each club the easiest swing in golf. That can help anyone's game.
Even mine.
AVDP System Woods and Irons, only from Goldwyn Golf.
Dad, good news, bad news. You switched to that bargain brand of paper and saved us $21 this year. Now, the bad news?
Don't tell your mother.
The last thing you want to worry about is paper jamming. That's why Union Camp created Great White recycled content paper. It's virtually worry-free, so it's as good for your business as it is for the environment. Great White, only from Union Camp. One less thing to worry about.
Stanley, I'm home.
Son, hide this.
If you listen carefully, you can hear an early English settler saying,
"Get a man!"
ESPN's presentation of the 1997 British Open is brought to you by Dean Witter. There are many ways to measure success. Dean Witter measures success one investor at a time. By Goldwyn Golf, hold the one that holds the record. AVDP Systems Woods and Irons. And by Union Camp, makers of Great White recycled content business paper. One less thing to worry about.
We're at the 5th hole, the par 3 today, measuring 208 yards, and Monty has played a gorgeous shot in here.
Can't imagine anyone hitting it closer than this, Steve.
Well, he has had to suffer overnight the questions about why he hasn't played well, given what most would view to be the advantages he'd have as we go to 6.
Norman now for eagle.
Long putt up the slope, probably 30 feet.
Even though the wind's not blowing as hard today, you still have to take advantage of these outgoing holes. They're slightly downwind, a little bit right to left, as Greg is doing right here. Put an iron on this long par 5.
So Greg taps in for his birdie. First birdie of the day after 5 pars. Greg Norman at 3 under, tied with Jim Furyk right now for 4th position. Darren Clark, what a story. A guy who loves Ferraris. He's been the fastest car in the field thus far, a 3-stroke lead. You mentioned the Wynn Curtis. Big difference from yesterday?
Big difference. It's still out there. We're not going to say it's not blowing at all. Going out, the holes are playing a little bit longer simply because we don't have a gusting 30-mile-an-hour wind behind us. But coming in, it's such a damp wind. It's such a heavy wind. So coming in, yes, it's not a 3-club wind, but it's a club and a half. It's still there.
I was corrected at dinner last night by one of the locals. I said, windy out there today. I said, windy? You obviously haven't been here. Today was breezy, chap.
That's right.
Gives you an idea of the conditions here on a regular basis.
Well, we just can't stress. What wind there is very, very heavy, and the golf ball just does not travel very far in it.
You see the wind from the anemometer blowing at about 10 miles per hour. Let's go back to the par 5, 6th hole. Steve Stricker, a birdie putt. Bidding for his 3rd birdie of the first 6 holes. He'll tap in for par and stay at 1 under. We move ahead to number 10. This is Tom Pertzer's group. Tom's off to a very good start. 3 birdies on the front, out in 33.
Playing well. He hadn't played well in a number of months. Came over and qualified here. Impressive. You know, not many. There's a couple of guys that didn't even come when they were exempt, but Tom always comes and tries to qualify. Enjoys it over here.
Oh, I didn't catch it. Get up.
You heard him say he didn't catch it quite. Came up a little short. It's a 5.
Couples on the tee at the par 3.
208, the hole located over the lone bunker on the right with the wind at Fred's back.
He has an excellent British Open record, does Couples. Has not won here, but many times in the top 10. Anytime you can play with feel and instinct, I think it plays right into Freddie's strength. He's not a guy who's obsessed with mechanics.
Colin Montgomery on this tee here, Steve.
Colin today has really seemed a lot looser than I expected him to after his first round. Seems to be loose and easy with the crowd, and his game reflects it.
Ed, he basically doesn't have anything to lose after the terrible round yesterday.
No, I'm sure he was extremely disappointed, but he's 2 under today despite a bogey at 3. This should be a great opportunity for him.
He hit just 3 of the 14 fairways yesterday. And is quite safely in the fairway of, as Rossi mentioned, the longest hole of any of the courses in what here is called the Rota, the rotation of British Open courses. To 7.
402-yard par 4 7th for Greg Norman.
Not laying up. Just made his first birdie.
Beautiful drive right there. You can take it down the fairway, or some players might risk cutting across those mounds to the right-hand side, but Norman played it safely. Norman coming off his first birdie at 3 under par and 6 back of our leader, Darren Clark of Northern Ireland.
Tired of explosions instead of plot and humor that never acts its age? At Bravo, we'd like to offer an alternative. 5-star cinema. Movies you can't find anywhere else. Commercial free. Not the same old movies. 5-star movies. The best movies. Bravo's 5-star cinema. Every Saturday night.
Many people think academic medical centers are all the same. I just wish I could show them Montefiore. Of course we have the technology, the research, the expertise, the finest medical care New York City has to offer. But what's different about Montefiore is that we don't just treat diseases, we treat people. So you won't just get better at Montefiore, you'll feel better too.
You'll feel better when you choose Montefiore, the University Hospital for the Albert Einstein College of Medicine.
Spokesperson for MLS, I choose all the photography. Here's my dilemma. A wonderful action shot. And here you are again, more contemplative on the sidelines. Which one do you prefer?
I like the action one.
Yes, yes, we concur. You know, we had our husband painted on a charging steed, mane flowing, nostrils flaring. The horse was even more impressive. I'm teasing, of course. You like the action shot. I do, too. Make a note of that.
As you look at the tee marker for the 18th hole here, right to the right-hand side of the 18th tee, there is a large home. There's a home right on the golf course, and I guess they have some friends because 3/4 mile away is Pecker's Bar and Diner, and they're advertising for them, and I guess some Friends from Loch Lomond, the course that hosted the Invitational that so many Americans went over to play in last week here in Scotland, they've been invited over for the day. How'd you like to have this view? It's a very convenient walk, that's for sure.
That is right in the middle of the golf course. I don't know how it ever got there, but it's there.
You'd almost get the feeling that the golf course was built around it, but we know the golf course was here so long. To number 5.
Couples from the back of the green.
Just a little chip. It moves just left to right down by the hole.
Couples playing in non-metal spikes this week. He started using it early this year. He said, what the heck, they feel fine. I think I'll keep them. It is an absolutely stunning day here at Royal Troon Golf Club. It was here in 1962 that, because of the great crowds that followed Arnold Palmer, the following year they had to bring out grandstands and gallery ropes. Folks have a nice view from the Firth of Clyde. To 10.
Here is Tom Pertzer for birdie.
And that's something else you'll see a lot of this week. Putting from well off the green, simply because there's no rough. And the fairways are cut so tightly, it's just about like putting on a putting surface.
45-year-old Tom Pertzer, who was 4th in 1982 when the British Open was played here. To 17.
That's Australian Roger Davis playing at the 214-yard par 3. In the 89 Open, it was the most difficult hole in the course. Davis played a 2-iron here. To 7.
Second shot for Lee Westwood.
Laid up with an iron, has 153 yards to the hole. Downwind.
You're right.
Beautiful shot from Westwood. He's already made 1 birdie and 1 eagle. Going along beautifully.
This is Angel Cabrera at the 11th hole, the difficult 463-yard par 4. That was his second shot, and so many times we've seen players hit it in the right and then trying to get out of there, find the gorse to the left. As we go back now to the par 4 7th, and the second shot for Steve Stricker.
150 yards from Steve after laying up also. 2 under for the day.
Go.
So Stricker, who is 1 under in this Open Championship, has been playing a little bit better every week. Had 4 rounds in the 60s last week at Quad Cities. And to the 4th hole.
Payne Stewart, second shot at the par 5. Stewart got off to a great start in yesterday's round, and like everyone else, had trouble on the backside coming home. Watch this. So Payne Stewart with about 11 feet for eagle here at the 4th as we go back to 7.
Second shot for Greg Norman.
That was from 90 yards. Greg could have birdied every hole. He has just played magnificently. Lifted out the first 3.
Rossi, is he driving it on every hole?
He sure is. Well, not in the first couple of holes, Curtis. He on the first hole he hit a driver, but then he hit irons at 2 and 3.
So Greg Norman currently at 3 under par for the championship. 1 under on his round as we go to 4.
Ian Woosnam. This is his 3rd shot. You can see the difference when you drive the ball in the fairway here like Payne Stewart did. He'll have an eagle putt. Ian Woosnam marches his way up to the 4th green. But it's Darren Clark in the lead by 3 in the 126th British Open.
A black Lincoln? Yes, sir.
Introducing Navigator from Lincoln.
Why didn't you just have him park it in the lot?
I didn't want it scratched.
Navigator from Lincoln. What a luxury should be.
Sign up for Sprint Cent's dime a minute rate now, and your evenings and weekends will never be the same again.
It's the weekend, and I'm in the dime zone. Right away, I have the beach all to myself. Then these people ask me to house sit for the rest of the summer. Best of all, my calls are just 10 cents a minute.
With Sprint Cents, you're in the dime zone every weeknight and all weekend long. And when you sign up now, you'll also get up to 100 minutes free. Call now, 1-800-PIN-DROP.
I believe real power comes from within.
Nick Price. Intense, determined, focused like a laser beam. You could say he's a driven man. This concentration and his precept extra spin have given him greater distance with more control. Inside this precept is the most advanced two-piece ball technology ever developed. You see, whether you're talking about golf balls or the people who play them, it's what's inside that makes a winner.
The kart race at Laguna Seca. Want to go? Just get a state-of-the-art race car. Round up a top crew. And qualify. Or easier, enter the ESPN Grand Prix Sweepstakes presented by Firestone and Pennzoil. To enter, visit your local participating Firestone retailer or call the Pennzoil hotline at 800-344-5400. And you could win a trip for 2 to Laguna Seca or great prizes from Firestone and Pennzoil. Enter the ESPN Grand Prix Sweepstakes and you could be a winner.
Chance for the privilege for a little lunch, perhaps choosing seafood this afternoon. Here at the British Open. Some champagne with it, of course. Cheers. Cheers. Thank you. Hey, how did they hear me? Ching ching. International, of course. If you've never been here, it's a different experience.
I hope the golf's not bothering him at all.
Well, enough of that for the moment. Here's Jay Haas at 18 for birdie. So Jay, who went out in 32 and made 4 birdies, an even par, or 1 under par round of 70. He's 1 under for the championship after yesterday's even par round of 71. Currently tied for 11th. So Jay is one of the 17 players who right now are under par. If you're thinking about what the cut may be, 85 players are at 5 over. At number 6, Colin Montgomery. Second
260 yards.
He was 2 under after 6 holes yesterday, so it's another good start for Monty. The trouble came later. Reminder coming up later today on ESPN, opening round coverage of the Burnett Senior Classic in Minnesota. Vicente Fernandez won his first senior tour title at this event last year. The Cadillac Series continues the Senior PGA Tour later today on ESPN. Great golf morning and afternoon for you in the States. See if Hale Irwin can come back after a bit of a struggle last week in Michigan. Out to 4.
Robert Allenby, 3rd shot from the greenside bunker at the par 5. And that'll be an illegal 3 for Robert Allenby, man who is just now coming back into form after a serious injury. 2 under par for the day after 4 holes, 3 over in all. Aaron Clark at 9 under leads the way. But with the weather conditions as they are today, I would expect some of those players at 3 and 4 under there to get it to maybe 6 or 7 at least. Lee Westwood, as we mentioned, one of the up-and-coming stars of the European Tour. Ryder Cup captain Tom Kite, even par after 2 holes today. Billy Andrade, that time on the right there, Eastern time. He will start at 9:45, his second round. Retief Hussen, who won the French Open earlier this year, off to a good start today. 4 under for the day. As we move to 11.
This is David Howell, who got off to a terrific start today. This is a young player from England, 22 years of age. He birdied 5 of the first 6 holes. This putt is for bogey, though. And this is the rule rather than the exception at the difficult 11th. Currently at even par, and look at this, just hang on the edge. That'll send him to 2 over. The 11th hole, of course, was a par 5 during the 1989 Open, but that year Norman and Calcavecchia and Grady, who all tied, shot 275 before Calcavecchia won the 4-hole playoffs. So this year they've made it a 4-par as we go to the 8th hole,
where Greg Norman backs away from the tee shot at the par 3.
Flagstick in the back today, which is probably the toughest spot you can have it. You cannot miss to the right here, and of course if you miss left, you take a chance of burying it in that bunker.
8th hole, playing 128 yards today, nicknamed by Willie Anderson years ago the postage stamp. Very small target.
Yeah, the green back here where the pin is only about 12 or 13 steps wide. Obviously does not want it to the left in the bunker and does not want it to the right. Safe play is just short of the pin and the fat of the green. Right there. Very smart play there, Mark.
Well, like you said, Curtis, there is only one place for a shot here at number 8, and that's on the green. Now back to 6. Excuse me, the 4th. You remember Payne Stewart with a great second shot, and like Robert Allenby, he makes an eagle 3, only his a little more conventional. So Stewart out of the blocks quickly in this second round. He, like Fred Couples, has an excellent record here in the Open Championship. And now Lee Westwood on the tee at 8.
Very impressive player here. First I've seen him play, but been watching the European tournaments early in the morning out on the West Coast and seen a lot of him.
Rossi, he's also finished in the top 25 in both the Masters and the U.S. Open this year.
Oh, what a break. If that ball stays up in the rough, he has no chance to play from there. Now he has a nice putt for birdie.
Let's go to 6.
Montgomery just off the green for eagle.
This is about a 55-foot putt.
Well, as you saw the headlines, maybe Monty did. And, you know, he did say to some of the reporters, I need to go out and do what I did in the first round of the U.S. Open. Perhaps shoot 65. What a great start. 4 under through the first 6 holes. And Colin Montgomery is 1 over for the championship. Good start for Montgomery, but a long way to go to catch Darren Clark in the lead by 3.
Living Needs allows you to access most of the death benefit while you are living. I was able to hand her a check. Whatever she felt like she needed to do to improve the quality of her life, she was able to make those decisions. It wasn't somebody saying, you have to die and then we'll give the money to your family. I took a great deal of pride in the fact that Prudential developed this. The financial worries were not there. Those kids were able to have a happy Hanukkah because of the benefits that we were able to pay out in Living Needs.
They call it the Blue Monster. This course is hard enough under perfect conditions. If my muscles are sore, forget it. So before I tee off, my doctor told me to take Advil.
Doctors recommend Advil for muscle pain. They like the way Advil works, right at the site of pain, stopping it where it starts.
For my sore muscles, nothing's better. It also works great on headaches.
Advanced medicine for pain.
St. Andrews, Scotland, the home of golf and one of the finest collections of golfing memorabilia in the world. Open 7 days a week in summer, the British Golf Museum preserves and displays the artifacts of the royal and ancient game and provides the opportunity to relive many of its historic moments. The British Golf Museum, a mere pitching wedge away from the famous R&A Clubhouse.
Sunday night, Tino Martinez, long ball demolition man. The Bombers drop in on the Brew Crew in Milwaukee. Yankees-Brewers, the Sunday night baseball game of the week. Sunday at 8 on ESPN.
The seniors roll into the Twin Cities to take on Bunker Hills Golf Club, the Burnett Senior Classic. First round coverage begins today at 3 on ESPN.
And you get a look at the practice range here at Royal Troon, and with still another hour and 45 minutes, even more than that, of tee time still to go. Actually, about an hour and 15 minutes, I beg your pardon. You have some players who are warming up still, and players who have finished their rounds who are working on their game, including Brad Faxon, 5 birdies and 1 bogey today, a round of 67 after his opening 77. So Brad Faxon gets it back to 2 over and has work to do because he will be around for the weekend.
Then you might think, you know, that's awful late for somebody to be teeing off. Not for Brad, he's finished, but some of these other guys. But with so much daylight to 10 o'clock, they can play forever, it seems like, around here.
There's Fred Couples off the fairway on 6.
Not a very good lie in that right rough. I think just playing this second for position here at the par 5.
Just rolling into the rough on the right.
He was some 260 plus to the front of the green. Had he had a good lie or been in the fairway, certainly would have had a chance to put the ball on the green.
And the reason he was to the right, because there's a series of pot bunkers on the left part of this fairway that you do not want to get in. If you put it in one of these pot bunkers, it's almost like a water hazard. You just chip out and then go from there. So you will see a lot of balls to the right of these, playing away from the pot bunkers.
At number 8,
Lee Westwood trying to get to 4 under for the day.
Putting up the slope should go a little to his right.
Wow, Lee Westwood. For the birdie at the 8th, goes to 4 under for the day, 2 under for the championship. A man who had the lead going in the final round of the Irish Open a couple of weeks ago, only to watch Colin Montgomery fire a 62 on the final day to beat him. Let's go to 17.
Barkley Howard. If you watched the first round, you saw Mr. Howard put his stamp on short-lived fame. Here's his tee shot here. He is now 1 over par for the championship, but nevertheless a very fine showing for the 44-year-old amateur. Actually played on the Walker Cup team against Tiger Woods as we move back to 8.
Rossi Norman with about the best putt you could have here at number 8.
And plus he saw the line that Westwood used.
Greg made a 3 here yesterday at number 8. He has hit, as you heard Rossi say, 3 or 4 putts like that today. Looked like it was in a foot from the hole. Just drifted off to the right. Let's go to 11.
Third shot for Tom Purtzer at the long par 4. Many players yesterday not able to reach this green in 2, and of course today the wind not quite as strong, the conditions better, so many of the players getting here. But this was the most difficult hole on the golf course yesterday, yielding just 4 birdies, 64 bogeys, and 34 double bogeys. Tom Watson on the tee at 7.
Tom playing an iron off this tee, just trying to put it in the fairway.
Tom 3 under on his round today, and 3 under for this championship. Watson, who won here back in 1982. That was the tournament when Nick Price, of course, was sailing along, and at the 13th hole, his game became something that was a struggle for him, and Watson was in the right place at the right time and captured yet another one of his British Open championships. Prestwick, right next door here to the Royal Troon Golf Club. Let's go back to 6.
And the man who finished 7th in last year's Open Championship. 3rd shot for Fred Couples.
Well, Fred is going to have to wait a moment. His fellow competitor, Raymond Russell, is in some very deep rough up to the right side of this fairway.
Judy, it gives us a quick second. When I saw Fred on Wednesday, we asked how his dad was doing. I know his dad has been battling an illness for a while. His father, Tom, Fred said he's feeling a little bit better, and he knew he'd be watching, so we send along warm wishes from all of us to Fred's father, Tom. Judy, will Russell play first over there?
Oh, yes. He's some 30 yards farther from the green here. Tried to play a wood from the right rough, and as you can see, hit it quite wildly to the right.
Raymond Russell playing in his first British Open. He's a Scot, so it's a great thrill for him.
He's off well today. 2 birdies in the early holes.
Coming off a 1 over par round of 72 yesterday.
And there you see there when Freddie does chip what he's confronted with. The bunker that you saw from behind him does not come into play.
Well, we have a moment to 9.
Lee Westwood tee shot here at the 423-yard par 4 ninth.
Popular shot is a layup here. Take the left bunker out of play. And that's perfect.
It's been a very impressive performance thus far as we go back to 6.
And back to Mr. Russell.
Pretty thick grass up on the hillside, and it's been trampled down for 2 or 3 days now by the galleries.
Russell 4 times in the top 10 on the European Tour this year, including a 3rd in the French Open. And while we still wait to 9.
Norman on the tee now.
You see the 2 pot bunkers way out on the left. 270 to those. Greg just probably hitting a 3 or 4 iron. Didn't like it. And obviously he shouldn't. That is not a good angle to come in from. He will not see the green or the pin.
First bad shot he's hit, Curtis.
What does the leader of the British Open do after he's finished his round in his press conference? Well, you just saw him. That was Darren Clark. And there he is, practicing. That's what he does. He goes to the practice range, and he'll probably be there for an hour or more. Let's take a look at the leaderboard right now. He is the leader by 3 over the young man from Sweden, Jesper Parnevik, the fellow with the unusual-looking cap. 9 under to 6 under. Then Fred Couples out there 4 under par. Greg Norman playing so well. Tom Watson still hanging in there at 3 under. Justin Leonard, Jim Furyk, 1 shot worse than he was yesterday. Lee Westwood, the young Englishman, 24 years old. Tom Purtzer. It's the way the top golfers look on the leaderboard there. And here, well, Gary Player came to his first British Open in 1956. This weekend, he's playing in his 42nd straight British Championship. He once told me that when he got off the train a long way from his native South Africa, his cardboard suitcase held together with a piece of rope, he was the lonesomest 20-year-old kid on this island. Now at the age of 61, he was putting out for a round of 71. However, it put him at 7 over, and he probably will miss the cut. That was probably and possibly his final putt in a British Open. What a reception, though, for Gary's Player at age 61. So it continues, the young and the old battling it out in the British Open.
A tough case of athlete's foot can stop you in your tracks. You get that itching, the cracking, the burning. That's when you want a medicine that acts tough. Boom! Tough Actin Tenactin. It cures even tough cases of athlete's foot. Get Tough Actin Tenactin.
Bobby. When I grow up, I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to build power plants. I'll design robots that can think. I'll build a tilting train. And then I'll create advanced technologies that reduce pollution to save the world.
Now, Bobby, where could you ever do all that?
ABB.
incredible win.
I can't complain. I just had a new set of irons from Cobra this week.
That is a true story.
You driving, big guy?
The Nissan Quest. Finally, a minivan the whole family likes to drive.
You know, he had everything. He was renting an apartment, and he's always a big Pistol Pete fan, you know.
Look at you. You look like a floozy. You know that? What do you think this is sexy?
I used to use lines like, hey, come here often. Now I speak from the heart with a beautiful crossover dribble.
Do you know what it's like to have to tell people, my brother's a groupie? I always counted on him getting a good corporate job and hiring me. I'm screwed.
Phoenix, Sacramento, Monday at 8:30 on ESPN.
Second shot at the 402-yard par 4 7th for Colin Montgomery.
This from just 125 yards, a wedge.
Well, good to hear the cheers, I'm sure, for Colin Montgomery, who's missed the cut in 4 of the last 5 British Opens and, of course, struggled yesterday. 4 under on his round so far today after the eagle at 6 and with a good birdie opportunity at the par 4 7th. That was just a moment ago, and live to Tom Watson and his putt for birdie.
Tom played a beautiful shot in here. Carried the ball well up onto the green and stopped it very quickly going downwind. He's played a very solid round to this point. Could actually be 1 or 2 shots better.
So Tom Watson has got it going on this Friday morning at Troon. 4 under through 7 holes and 4 under for the championship and 5 back of our leader Darren Clark.
Like this time?
Let's go over to 9.
That was an 8 iron, okay? It depends on how it comes out. If it can come out hot, that's enough then.
Tony Navarro discussing with Norman his options with a second shot here.
The green Greg is after is way over here behind that dune to the right. Can't see anything. He knows he has to land it well short of the green and let it bump on up.
Rossi, how far?
Well, he's got about 160 yards. It's a terrible angle.
Careful, careful, careful. Played the bounce pretty well. All in all, not too bad from where he was.
Actually, that's a wonderful shot from there because that rough is not bad at all right now. It's an easy little chip.
Comes out, does it? Can come out hot, that's enough.
And this is not an easy chip.
2-8.
That was Per Ulrich Johansson at the 8th, the par 3 moments ago, and he can go get his sand wedge now. Let's go back to 9.
Westwood, second shot at 9.
Perfect spot. He's about 140 yards, looking right down the throat of the green.
Impressive. Already 4 under par on his round. Has played his way back to 2 under par for the championship. Young man who is 4th on the European Ryder Cup list at age 24 to 7.
Fred Couples actually at number 6. This is birdie putt. After
You won't see many 3-putts this week because the greens are so much slower than what we're used to back home. You'll see a lot of chips in close because they can give it a good bump and not worry about knocking it too far by. And you'll see a lot of short putts made.
2-8.
Where Jack Nicklaus, having played his tee shot into the green side bunker, blasted out to here and will have about 10 or 11 feet for par. First, though, Shigenori Mori of Japan from behind the green. Once again, the scores of the entire field up in the left-hand corner of your screen. If you see a number on the right like that 80, that would have been the round shot today by the player. If you see a 5 such as that, that would be the hole that they're on in the round. And if you see a time like 9:45 for Billy Andrade, he is yet to tee off. Now Mori for his par. This 8th hole over the years has caused all sorts of trouble. Back on the tee, Colin Montgomery watching. Some years ago, back in 1950, a young German amateur, Hermann Tisses, actually put his ball in the green side bunker. And 15 shots later, he holed out for whatever that would be. Let's go to 16. Payne Stewart's on the tee. And lots of applause from the gallery, but not a particularly good result. Now back to Jack, the 8th for his par.
Left to right putt, fairly flat.
And that'll be the first bogey of the day for Jack Nicklaus after parring the first 7. There was a big question last week in Dearborn, Michigan at the Ford Senior Players Championship as to whether he was going to come over to Royal Troon. One of his concerns, Curtis, was the weather. He was concerned if the weather had been really bad that it might not be a good decision, but it's turned out to be a good one.
Well, exactly, and the reason we say that is his back and hip. They're hard to loosen up when it's cold.
That was Norman's little pitch from just off the green, and not probably what he had in mind. To 8.
Johansson for bogey. 2 under for the day. And that's a double bogey 5 for the Ryder Cup player from Sweden. Johansson goes from -1 to +1. And Jack Nicklaus with a bogey 4. So at 128 yards, the 8th hole once again has taken its toll on a group. And a good look there. 5 bunkers surrounding this 8th green. And back there on the tee, Tom Watson.
Tom with an 8-iron. Started this ball well to the left. And he is down in that little bunker to the left of the green. He will have a chance to play this ball. This ball is down in the flat and sitting up.
Actually, today, Ed, he's better off there than he would have been had it gone up on the hill, I believe.
Well, it looks that way from this point, now that we can see that he's in the flat of the bunker.
This is Mark McNulty. 4 over for the championship, 3 under on his round today.
He's played quite nicely today. He's made a few birdies, been right in there.
Not very long off the tee. He was one of the players that had a lot of trouble yesterday back into the wind. Couldn't even reach the 18th fairway. But a wonderful putter.
That's a beautiful golf shot.
Finally, Colin Montgomery.
Curtis, in talking to you, don't you think this is one of the most dangerous short holes you've ever seen? It doesn't have a water hazard or something?
It might be the greatest short hole in the world. It's with no water hole, with no real danger in penalty strokes. It's scary. You're on the tee, scared to death. Here we see Monty probably with a non-iron, but I tell you what, he's changed his expectations already. He's already well within the cut line. He's thinking about getting back in this golf tournament with his start today.
Absolutely.
That ball did not come back off the hill like we saw Lee Westwood, so Montgomery could have problems here at the 8th.
That ball is long over the green, and he's going to have a difficult pitch.
Well, here's a look at the postage stamp. The 8th hole, the shortest hole in British Open golf. You can see 5 bunkers surrounding the green there. Curtis was talking about how you have to put the ball on the green. Here's what happened yesterday. 83 of the players actually hit the green. The most popular spot was this left-hand bunker yesterday, right up in here. 29 balls ended up in that bunker, and that would have been a very difficult shot yesterday. Not quite so tough today. Tom Watson in there. Now let's take a look at what's happened today. 74 of the players have hit the green. Once again, the 2 bunkers that are getting all the action are this bunker up here on the left-hand side and the one over on the right-hand side. The championship committee of the R&A feels that the right-hand bunker, this one right over here, is probably the most difficult bunker on the hole. It's a very deep one, and that's why you're going to see hole locations over toward that side of the green on the weekend. The players are hitting 9s and 8s today at the 8th hole, but a lot of days you see 2 and 3 irons.
James D. Montgomery is a central figure here at Troon. He's the club secretary and the father of Colin Montgomery, who's been superb on the European Tour as its leading money winner 4 straight years. Colin strangely missed the cut in the British Open 4 years of the last 5, but always seems on the verge of winning the United States Open. As for his father, well, a British club secretary is a figure unlike any we have in American golf. He's the chief operating officer and more, the enforcer of the rules for both members and visitors. Touring foreigners who lust to play on the famous links of Britain have to pass inspection by the club secretary.
When you're looking for great golf, there's nothing quite like Myrtle Beach. And if you know Myrtle Beach, you know the legends. Now you can stay with us, play with us, and surround yourself with a true golfer's paradise. It's an authentic Scottish Links experience, but prices begin at only $84 a day. For the best golf package in Myrtle Beach, call Legends Resorts today. It's time to discover why the place to play is now the place to stay.
You won't get your hands on a QVC product until we get our hands on it. Some people say we're tough.
Very tough.
This is the drop test, where we make sure a product will hold up during shipping. These have to be rewritten. We stand behind everything we sell, so if somebody returns a product because they don't like the color or something like that, perfection, that's okay. I just don't want them to have to return it. Because it doesn't work.
Andrews, Scotland, the home of golf and one of the finest collections of golfing memorabilia in the world. Open 7 days a week in summer, the British Golf Museum preserves and displays the artifacts of the royal and ancient game and provides the opportunity to relive many of its historic moments. The British Golf Museum, a mere pitching wedge away from the famous R&A clubhouse.
They are today's heroes and a growing presence in the major leagues. They represent the changing face of the national pastime. But what barriers have they faced on the way up and the way over? And what accounts for their astounding success? Join ESPN for an inside look at a sport which has captivated a culture. Major League Baseball, an all-new Outside the Lines, Tuesday at 7:30 on ESPN.
Colin Montgomery from long and left of this 8th green. This was a moment ago.
Very difficult shot. He tries to get too close. He could leave it there.
You could see the club sort of slide under the ball there, Ed, and he's left it a good 25 feet short. So Montgomery, after a great start to his round, the very difficult par putt here. Now here he is live for par. Oh, there's a way to keep your momentum. Sometimes, Curtis, those kind of putts for pars are just as important as birdie putts, or maybe more.
I really believe that those pars, saving putts, those up and downs, you know, when you shoot 62, 3, 4, 5, you don't hit every green, you don't make every putt, but sometimes those are really momentum collectors or getters, just because you feel like if you make bogey on a short hole like this, it's all gone away.
Now Mark McNulty for his birdie. We mentioned before there were 85 players at +5. Projected cut somewhere in that +5, +6 vicinity. So McNulty at 4 over with a difficult back 9 ahead of him would like to get a little bit of a cushion. Birdied 3 of the first 7 holes.
One of the best putters on the European Tour.
Good call there, Curtis.
Well, Mark, we talk about essentially this being a home game for Colin Montgomery. He talked about how just around the corner from the first tee is a place that Dad's office lies, and then a place where the Montgomery family was able to vacation, and Mr. Montgomery lives in this area still. So this is a neighborhood quite familiar to Colin, who said that he's played here hundreds of times. Couldn't play this golf course until he was 16. So in his youth, he played a little bit away from here at one of the surrounding courses, and then once he was 16, he started playing golf here. He was a junior member until 1987 and resigned that junior membership when he became a golf professional. But certainly this area is very familiar to Colin Montgomery. As he moves on to number 9, it's just after 7 o'clock on the West Coast. So many of you may be waking up in L.A. and San Francisco and Seattle. You get a look at what's happening here at the British Open. Our second round continuing with 40% of the field in as you pick out your favorite player. On average, compared to yesterday, 4 strokes better the scores today. So the wind, which is blowing about half of what it blew, if not even a higher percentage than how strong it got yesterday. Wind's down, scores are a little better. And right now, if you're looking for where the cut may be, and it's top 70 in ties that move on to the weekend play, we have 81 players at 5 over par or better. So you would think the players at 5 over are the ones who are really going to be the ones we have to watch.
Yeah, I actually think it'll go up a little bit because so many of these players haven't played that backside yet. So maybe 5, 6, possibly even 7. With the nons being so different, non going out and the inward non right back into the wind.
If you're just tuning in, Tiger Woods started early, shot 74. He's at +4 for the championship. Mark at number 8.
Tom Watson for par. Postage stamp claims another victim. Watson, who is 4 under going into this hole for the day, loses a stroke. Trails Darren Clark by 6 shots. Air France cargo on the runway at the Prestwick Airport. What a day in Scotland.
Prince, the sweet spot company that revolutionized tennis 2 decades ago, shaves strokes off your golf game today. Prince Thunderstick irons put a huge sweet spot right where most shots are hit. Schedule a free Prince Thunderstick demo today. Call 1-800-99-PRINCE.
A black Lincoln?
Yes, sir.
Introducing Navigator from Lincoln.
Why didn't you just have him park it in the lot?
I didn't want it scratched.
Navigator from Lincoln. What a luxury should be.
You know, AT&T wants to make things simple.
Yeah, but what about all these other long-distance offers? Well, one says save 30%, another save 39%, but compared to what?
I understand.
I'm confused.
Well, AT&T can make it simple.
Hey, I called AT&T at that 1-800-COMPARE. And I found out that I wouldn't save big over what AT&T's got.
There you go.
It's that simple?
Pure and simple.
What do you mean by pure?
Nothing.
You lost me on the pure.
Forget pure.
Then why'd you say pure?
Forget about pure. I think they do it to hurt me.
Simple, competitive prices for home or business. The Michelin X1, with a 6-year unlimited mileage tread life warranty, gives you better wet traction than any rain tire, plus Michelin control in most driving conditions. After all, it hasn't rained that much in years.
The NASCAR Ride-Along program puts you in the action.
What's going on? Kyle's breaking in some new material.
So, the Rhino says, forget it, I'll drive myself. Seriously though, I used to be a grease monkey, but that was the bits. Just what I need, a backseat drummer, right? Come on, Clyde, try to keep up.
NASCAR on ESPN. Come along for the ride.
Thank you, you're beautiful. I'll be at the Laugh Shack till Wednesday.
They've got next. We've got the broadcast Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Time. It's the WNBA on ESPN. Robin Roberts and UConn coach Gino Auriemma call the action as the Phoenix Mercury take on the Sacramento Monarchs. Phoenix led by Michelle Timms, Nancy Lieberman-Klein on that team as well. You'll see that Monday. Now to number 10, the very difficult par 4. Here's Lee Westwood second.
Westwood playing from about 200 yards, very sharp slope right in front of him. He's going to have to get the ball up very quickly. This one's way to the right.
Got past the area that was trampled down a bit by the gallery and into the thicker stuff, unfortunately, for Westwood, who was called by Seve Ballesteros, captain of the European Ryder Cup team, the, quote, Tiger Woods of Europe. 10 top 20s and 16 starts, but not to the Woods status yet. Now Norman.
Norman, 181 yards out of the left-hand rough. This fairway's almost impossible to hit. I don't think a driving machine could hit this fairway, Curtis.
It's a bowl-shaped, left-to-right wind and a hard fairway. You have to be precise. That's not a bad position there, Ross. He just left, fairly easy chipped with the pin back to the right. What he had to guard against there was going to the right and going long. Not very good there.
Norman and Westwood off the surface. We go to 8.
Fred Couples on the tee.
Well, the breeze still back in the player's face.
Fred with an 8-iron.
Just went ahead and let it get up in the wind.
That's a good, safe shot there. Fred Couples loves this championship, always seems to play well here.
At 10, Steve Stricker. That his third. And finds trouble behind the green. So here's what Stricker did on the front 9. 36 on the front. 2 birdie good start, but bogeys on 8 and 9, giving them back. As we continue from Troon.
It's a trip to paradise, and this man has lost his vacation money. And so has he. This man was carrying cash. But he insisted on American Express traveler's checks. So while he had no one to turn to, this man called American Express as he tried calling home. With just one phone call, American Express can refund your lost or stolen traveler's checks just about any time, any place. Don't take chances. Take American Express traveler's checks, the smart way to do more.
He is a dynamic player who realized his childhood dream. With strokes of genius, he has become the new master of golf.
Hello world, huh?
He is Tiger Woods. Experience his remarkable rise to greatness with this incredible offer from Sports Illustrated. You'll get this great new documentary, Tiger Woods, Son, Hero, and Champion, plus this classic SI Golf overshirt, both free with your paid subscription. Sun, Hero, and Champion captures the magic of a uniquely talented player. You'll see rare footage of golf's young prodigy and highlights of his history-making Masters triumph. Plus, you'll also get this extra-large SI Golf overshirt. It's lightweight, hunter green, and features 2 embroidered Sports Illustrated logos. Call now. Use your credit card. Get 54 issues of SI for only $1.48 an issue. Save over 57% off the cover price. And get your Tiger Woods film and SI Golf overshirt free. It's a classic offer exclusively from Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
I understand the concept. Sports news, updates, highlights whenever you want them. But why? What is this need to spoon-feed everyone everything instantly? Instant coffee, instant lotto, instant drive-through feed me now burger chains, instant cameras, instant credit, instant pudding. Actually, I like instant pudding, especially tapioca.
Well, in the States, it's usually that beautiful calligraphy, the handwriting of how the players are doing hole by hole. Here, the neat cards. You see the game number, game 33. Greg Norman off to a good start, out in 35. 3 under for today's round. This is his 3rd shot at number 10.
Very sharp downhill lie. Bear should be able to spin it a little.
This is the 20th British Open for the 2-time champion. Now, Lee Westwood's 3rd.
This is a terrible lie here. This is in the gorse. Gonna have to take a big swing at this one.
Rossi, it's like hitting out of, I don't know, a Brillo pad or something, isn't it?
Sort of like that ice plant out on the west coast of the United States.
You never know. You just hit hard and hope it goes forward somewhere. But there's not a whole lot of the gorse around Royal Troon, not like some of the old links courses. Just a lot of tall, wispy rough. Doesn't look like much there from your camera angle, but I'll tell you what, this golf course has a lot of character, and it's great fun to play. To none.
Montgomery now at the par 4 ninth, his 2nd shot.
From about 165, probably no more than an 8 or 9 iron straight downwind.
Boy, everything has gone his way, and perhaps as it should. He has played very well this morning. 2-8.
Fred Couples for birdie.
Putt slides just to the right.
Let's go back to 10.
And now Westwood's 4th on the par 4.
No bargain here either. A lot of clumps around the ball. Hard to get the club on it squarely.
Westwood pretty good pals with our leader, Darren Clark. Clark made a bet on both he and Westwood that they'd make the Ryder Cup team this year, and he's made 5,000 pounds. 2-8.
And Russell for par here at 8.
Had to play from a tough lie in the left-hand bunker.
Judy, we've seen David Russell in a number of tough lies already today. Still even par for the day. 1 over, in pretty good shape. Back to the 10th.
And Greg Norman looking at his par putt.
Hasn't made anything today yet.
Not much to this one, though. Maybe a left edge putt. Got to keep your speed up, but it's not much break at all to the right, just ever so slightly. It's one you don't want to give up on. You got to stay down and through and give it enough speed. Well, that's a tough putt to have when you haven't made anything.
So Norman drops a stroke and drops back into a tie for 7th at 2 under par. Well, this guy is, well, I guess, Curtis, after you got off the golf course, this guy had really had all his share of enjoyment and excitement for the day.
No, I actually wore him out, I think, with where I had it on the golf course. He followed me for 18, and he has had it.
See, he heard your voice, and he spruced right back up. Oh, I hear that voice. Darren Clark and Jesper Parnevik. That's what he wants to be called in the States, Jesper. They're atop the leaderboard. Justin Leonard just made an eagle. He's now 4 back.
If it's true that no two pros have exactly the same swing, why do so many grip the club the exact same way?
Introducing the new, longer than ever distance Titleist for driving enthusiasts everywhere.
I was born active. Motor's always running, if you know what I mean. So to stop smoking, the patch was not for me. Too passive, too rigid. With Nicorette gum, I get to do something. I participate in my own survival, fight my own cravings. Nicorette and I hit them before they hit me. I was busy smoking. Now I'm busy not smoking. Works out pretty good.
Nicorette gum will help you quit smoking successfully by helping you control your cravings. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
We really wanted to bring out the character of our home.
Which meant repainting everything.
Right now, Sears has every gallon of paint on sale. Like this interior, just $4.99. Or this exterior paint, only $5.99.
They were so helpful.
Going to Sears was like having a partner in all this.
The newly redesigned DeVille for the time of your life.
Okay, class, to get from here to there, you want to use this to avoid that. The new King Cobra 2 irons with the IQ system. 4 visible features, 1 proven benefit. You will hit the ball on the sweet spot more often. Class dismissed.
We're at the 9th green. Colin Montgomery for birdie. This for a round of 31 on the front side. Yes! It has been an amazing turnaround for the man they call Monty. Opening round of 76. 31 on the front half. He is 5 under par, but the big difference here in scoring here, front side to back side. The front side a lot shorter. You can reach the par 5s. It typically plays downwind, but then the teeth of the golf course bears itself. When you make the turn, play holes 10 through 18. The par 4s on the backside average 451 yards, and without exception, they play into the teeth of the wind. It is a dramatic difference in front side and backside here at Royal Troon. Front 9 yesterday played to a scoring average of 36 shots. The backside 40.2. 4 shots tougher from front side to backside. Today, not as big a difference because the wind has laid down.
Steve, I'll tell you, just to elaborate on that a little bit, coming in for me yesterday, I hit 4 3-woods to par 4s and a driver to the 17th par 3. I don't like those kind of, I don't like the length of a golf course like that.
And you drove it well, too.
I did. That's after good drives.
Well,
that's not talking a lot about my length, I guess.
There are many players. Mark Rolfing and Roger Tribe and I were talking earlier. Justin Leonard, Tom Watson never hit a green in regulation yesterday on the backside due to the tough conditions. And actually late in the day, when you'd expect the wind to lay down, it actually picked up. Now as we move out to 9, Watson for par. Oh, terrific. After the miss at 8, a solid stroke at 9. I think Watson putts well when the greens are slow. As he's gotten older, he's age 47, nerves not quite as good. He can handle the fast-paced greens. These greens more to his liking as we move to 11.
Tee shot for Greg Norman.
Hard driving hole again here. Not quite as hard at 10, though.
Now Greg was able to find the fairway
at the 11th. Big crowds out here. And another gentleman, I think he has the night shift at the local factory here, and just that's a good day to catch rays. So this is summer in Scotland. It's been upon us now for a better part of a day and a half, and people taking advantage of it. Huge gallery, of course, following Montgomery and Watson, Nicholas, Norman, those three groups all playing.
Raj, is it correct that they do not limit ticket sales here? They let anybody in that wants to come, right?
Well, this year, too, Curtis, you know, they're letting anyone under 18 with a responsible adult in free. So there's probably more children than there have ever been at a British Open. And
responsible is the key word there.
Well, that is the key word. Let's go to 8.
Mark Calcavecchia for a birdie. And I'm wondering, Roger, do they ask you when you come in with a child if you're responsible?
It's at the top of the questionnaire.
But I'll tell you what Mark Calcavecchia did. He played with Steve Stricker in practice rounds and told him a lot about Royal Troon, and it seems to be helping Steve Stricker.
We were in the lobby of the hotel last night. Curtis, and Mark Calcavecchia showed up. He's not staying there this year, but he did stay there back in 1989. He wanted to get back a little of that good feeling, and he is 3 under par for the day. See just how big that hill is to the left of the 8th green as the players are dwarfed behind it. This is Justin Leonard at the 5th.
Justin Leonard out to a quick start, a birdie at 2, an eagle at 4, quickly 3 under par in his round, 5 under par in all. But that is second at the par 3 as we move out to 10.
Colin Montgomery on the tee. That's the fairway that Rossi told you earlier is so difficult to keep it on. Jack Nicklaus up ahead on the green. Birdie opportunity. So Nicklaus, who parred the first 7 holes, bogeyed the postage stamp as we saw, and bogeyed the 9th, currently at 4 over. You may know he's the champion 3 times. Runner-up a remarkable 7 times at the British Open. So a par for Jack. To remain at +4. The cut line at 5 over currently. The airport is close enough by. If you have the resources.
I'm glad I'm not sitting right there in those stands. It makes a huge racket, and when they take off into the wind right over the golf course, as you can see right here, you put your fingers in your ears.
Is it disturbing? Do you have to